So, for all my budget-minded horsepower fanatics, I got a video for you today on my Audi Q5, which has the 3.0 liter supercharged engine from Audi. These engines sound really cool with the supercharger. You hear the whine a lot, but you can't with this factory intake. And the factory intake, not only it's also very restrictive, but the options out there are APR, Injen, and they go from like $350 to $500 for an intake. And I'm like, and they're like fancy carbon fiber and everything. And this is a, basic daily driver. It's not a sports car, so why spend all that money on some like fancy intake when I'm not going to be like taking this to car shows and opening up the hood? So I was like, can I put together something budget? So that's what I did. Here's what we came up with. I got a K&N air filter, a E1987, which was $45, and we got an RKX silicone intake tube, because this I would not recommend this for like really high horsepower applications. This I'm just going to do a tune on and the intake, so it's going to be like 450 crank horsepower, so nothing crazy. If you're going to start doing the pulleys and everything, I don't know if I'd do silicone, because over a lot of horsepower is going to make this compress, which won't be good. But this was $85, so together it was $130. Let's start putting it together. Okay, so as far as tools, it looks like all we have is a couple 7mm sockets there and there, and we also have some T-bits here. So that should be it, I think. If anything changes, we'll get to it. I'm not looking at directions. I'm not one for directions, so we got that off. That was super easy, other than the fact that it was whatever was connected back here. So that's back in the back there. There's a rubber hose. It's super, super tight. So next is to get this bad boy open. So let's do that. Oh, there's a couple screws in the back down here that I didn't notice. Okay. So there's what we're left with there. Let's take these out and see where that leaves us. Okay, so that's that. That has us about locked in. And then they give a little bag here with a couple washers and nuts. We'll put those on. Okay, so that's the air box. You got these two here that we just screwed in, and that's what it looks like attached. So now we got the K&N filter, and that's upgraded from this thing, which looks like it needed some tender love and care anyway. So let's get it in. Okay, so we got the intake tube out here, and it comes with this, and then it comes with the two clamps. So this needs to be installed here so that you could put it back into that hose over there. And I think both sides seem to be the same. Let's just see if we can just do this without any sort of, yeah, okay. So we don't need any sort of lubrication for that. That just kind of went right in. So I like that. A common mistake for me is when I put these on, I always forget to put this first. And then that sucks if you don't do that. Then you either got to take it off or you got to unscrew this the whole way and then kind of feed it. And it sucks. So make sure you put these on before you fit it. So this is just going to go in here. And it should just, yeah, almost like too easy, to be honest. We are good. And then you got to feed this hose onto that attachment back there. Make sure that nothing's pinched. Next is the intake itself. Okay, so I don't know how well that was supposed to fit with the stock air box, because if you come around here, see how I'm getting a space right in here? I'm having a hard time forcing it enough for it to stay in there. Like, even if I clamp these, it's not really trying to stay. So what's happening here is this clamp can't fully clamp on because of the thickness of the rubber of the intake. I think I found a way to make this work. I'm gonna take, so you have these little indents here, so I'm gonna take a wire the whole way around and tie these in together and that should hopefully help it. So let's try that. Let's get that. There we go. That is not going anywhere. Oh, okay, there we go. That's that. All right, so now that that's together, this should go fairly quickly. All right, so here we are, all buttoned up. No, I didn't put all the screws in here yet. That's because I may, like I mentioned before, be taking slots out of this in places to make the intake louder. We're gonna see how it sounds like it is. But everything else buttoned up nicely. I have used RKX in the past, and I do like them. It worked out well. But that time was on an aftermarket intake, this time being stock. Took a little bit of extra elbow grease, but turned out well. So let's see how it sounds. So I don't even know if that's going to even come up on camera because I couldn't really hear it that well in person, so I can't imagine you're going to hear it that well on camera. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of modification to it later tonight, and then we'll come back out and see how well it turns out. All right, so we're in the process of drilling this out, and so here's the bottom half here, and you can see this little circle here that used to be solid. So I trimmed that out. That's down at the bottom, so this end would be towards the car, the intake would go in, so that other part's towards the fender. I figured that would be the coldest air, but yeah, it didn't make it quite loud enough, so, but I didn't want to take any more holes out of this. So I've moved on to the intake itself, and as you can see here, I've kind of marked off, and an easy way to do this, so I'm going to cut out this black part, and the reason I made the edges like this is I'm going to round them with the bit for my Dremel here. As you can see, I got a drill. The drill is how I got started for the other piece, and then I got the Dremel over there. But anyway, so the tape, if you take the tape and lay it, the tape thickness from the outside, it makes it even the whole way around. So that way it looks uniform. And then this is what you're left with. This is the only hard part, and how I did that is I laid strips of tape, and then I went around with a X-Acto and kind of traced a nice round edge around there. Now I'm going to trim it out, and then I'm going to just show you the finished product. I'm not going to show the whole dremeling process. That's for another video somewhere else. Let's give it a try, and I'll be back in a bit. All right, we are done, and I am super pumped with the results. So here's how it looks. You know, I think it turned out pretty nice. All this ended up fitting very well. You can actually hear the intake hissing a little bit right now. So I trimmed out this piece, and then there's a piece down in there that you can't see, but I showed earlier. But I think this turned out decent looking. I might want to put some sort of mesh or something in there just to make it so nothing gets in there. Even though the aftermarket ones are wide open, that's how she looks. And then if you come inside here, this is where it gets good. Ready for this? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go for a quick ride and a quick test here. Okay, so we're gonna give it the beans a little bit here and see what she sounds like. Oh my God, that's so much better. Yeah, I love it. I think this is definitely worth it. $130, and this is the result that we got, which is pretty awesome. Well guys, that wraps it up, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I've had two Audi S4s and this, all with the same engine. I've had intakes on all of them. I had Injen on the first Audi and APR on the second. If you want the budget system that gets you the horsepower and gets you the noise, doesn't quite have the visual as the other ones, this is your ticket. This I would do time and time over again. Like I said, I'm $130 in with this, and I could not be more pleased. The horsepower is there, the sound is there, but like I said, you're missing a little bit on visual, but overall, is it really that bad? For an extra $200, is it worth the upgrade? Anyway, I'll let you guys decide. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.